Hi, it's me JD and welcome to my first January Plan With Me bullet journal. First, I'm going to start off with some masking paper. I'm going to freehand cut a sort of hilly scene that will be the center stage of my wintry mountain background. So I'm going to fold over my bullet journal, which is one of the capabilities that I love of this bullet journal, that you can fold it back and work on one side at a time. And then I'll adhere my mask down and I'll start doing some ink blending on this paper. And now this paper wasn't really meant for ink blending, but it surprisingly takes to it very easily. Like, you can see some harsh lines and some smudges, but as you layer on the different ink colors, it definitely gets better, and you can't really see it once the inks are all blended. Then I'll just add some black on the very top and all over just to help deepen this nighttime sky. And now it's time for the peel reveal of the mask, which worked out perfectly. There's no bleeding. And now for the big reveal, absolutely no ghosting, which I love because I added a lot of ink to the top of this page. Now I'll just use the rest of that masking paper to create sort of soft snowbanks along my mountainside. I'm just going to add just a smidgen of ink alongside the mask to create these shadows for the snowbanks. And then after this peel reveal, you'll see that I smudged it a little, but it was from the masking paper. I'll show you how I cover that mistake up later. I'm going in with my favorite white gel pen to add some snow to my wintry night sky, and then I'll use a Crayola marker to hand letter the word January. For my month at a glance page, I'm going to use a ruler as well as some Tombow markers and gel pens to make sure that my month is laid out correctly in the way I wanted. I like seeing a month at a time, just so at the beginning of the month I know what to expect, or if I need to go back and see what happened that previous month, I can look at it quickly also. And this way it gives me some room just to write little notes or symbols as to what happened each day for the month, like a birthday cake for, you know, a birthday. Next, I'll move on to what I intended to buy this bullet journal for, which is to stamp. I got this cool forest tree line stamp with some dark ink, and then when I stamped the forest stamp, I realized like it was giving some kind of texture, and I think that's the design of the stamp. I was expecting it to be a little more opaque, but it's not a big deal, so I just used one of the Tombow markers to help color it in and just darken it just a little bit. I stamped a single tree just to see if it was the stamp or the whole stamp set, and I don't mind the single stamp texture, but this trio of trees was just too, I don't know if it's defective or just the design of the stamp, but it wasn't to my liking, so I just got out the Tombow marker just to help darken that, as well as help make the trees seem a little bit fuller. Next, I will try to hand draw some trees, since I don't have a duo of trees to stamp. And this is why I bought the journal, because I'm a stamper, not a hand-drawn artist or a doodler. It's just, it doesn't work, people. I like to stamp, but I'm gonna do my best anyway to draw little trees on the empty spaces of this calendar. For my weekly layouts for the month, I decided to stick to the same weekly layout for the entire month, just because it's a little less disorienting, at least for me. I'm going to go with a vertical layout because that's how my my desktop calendar is at work. So I think this is a good segue into my whole bullet journal experience for a beginner. To carry over the theme of my monthly title page, I'm going to mask off all of the rectangles I made to help protect it, and then I'm going to be doing some more ink blending over the tops of all of my weekly spreads, just to keep things cohesive. I also added a piece of plain copy paper underneath to help protect the other pages from getting inked as well. Same result as before, no ghosting on any of these pages with this blending ink, thank goodness. Next, I'll write the headings for all of my weekly layouts, starting with the month, the days of the week, my note section, and a small little calendar just to give me a quick glance on the page of what week I'm at. Now I'm going to ink up this big tree line stamp and ink it across the bottom of my vertical boxes. I think that'll really help set this scene. As I was stamping this large stamp, I realized that I probably should have masked off the bottom portion of my weekly layout to help keep everything within the lines. So while the ink is setting in on the stamp, I just got out some painter's tape and masked off the other side of the weekly spread. And as I pulled up the stamp, it stamped pretty well. The coverage is pretty good. I noticed that there was some missing along the bottom, so this time I'm going to try to get a little closer to the bottom edge of the line. And hopefully this mask will help. I'm going just to stamp it a little below than the other side, so I have some difference in the forest for my wintry scene between the pages. And I realized that it didn't exactly work because or the mask did work, but it worked a little too well and there's some spacing issues, so I just used my Tombow marker to help color that in and make it all blend. As I worked with this stamp more, I was better able to gauge where to stamp it on the page so that I wouldn't have to pull out the marker to help fill in spaces. And I did the same layout for all of my weekly spreads for the month of January. The difference between each weekly layout would be the different little characters and stamps I would do on each page. So for this first week of January, I'm using this stamp set with a lot of cute little snowmen on them, and they're doing different things. So I just pulled out some of my favorites and I'm stamping them on various parts of the page. I love the melting snowman. I think it's so funny. And then just one more at the top, just get it in where I could fit it in because these snowmen are so cute. And for the next week, I'm going to pull out a different stamp. Still continuing with the wintry forest mountain scene with snowman and other winter creatures and characters. This is just a line of snowman as well as some single snowmen. And I masked off a section there earlier just to help continue that line of snowmen. And then I realized I forgot to connect the line between the weekends. For the next week's layout, I decided I had enough snowmen, so I wanted to go for woodland creatures. And I have this awesome stamp set that has the silhouette of creatures, so I thought that would tie in perfectly with the mountain and the forest silhouette as well. The best part is that I didn't have to color any of these because they're already dark. This will be my classiest week for the month of January. It's very traditional, but still lovely. So I lied, I had more snowmen in my collection. This time they're big snowmen. I'm gonna stamp a few of these guys along the weekly spread. These guys are so cute and I definitely would not have been able to doodle this. So I'm grateful for stamps. The next week's layout will have polar bears because I've run out of snowmen, I swear. The good thing about all these polar bears and snowmen is that I don't have to do too much coloring because they're all white. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I'm not the best colorer, so I'm just saving you the heartache. To color all of my little critters and characters, I'm really digging the Tombow markers right now. They have a really nice brush tip, which makes it easy to get into small areas to color. And they also come in a variety of colors, so it's almost every shade you could want. If you've also seen my video covering the canvas, then you know that these Tombow markers don't have any bleed through when it comes to this bullet journal. As we go into the year and make more monthly layouts, I'm going to be testing out different coloring mediums and stamping mediums just to, give you guys a heads up on what works and what doesn't. If you haven't already subscribed, you can do so with the button below and make sure you don't miss out on any of those future Plan With Me videos. And now I'm going to add some more snow to all of the top portions of my weekly layouts. It seemed tedious, but it was actually kind of fun to do. and then I'll flip through this entire month so you get one last look of all of the different pages for the month of January. Starting with my monthly title page featuring a snowy nighttime sky. Then it goes into some more forest with snowmen and some more tiny little snowmen all in a line. And then I changed it up and added some silhouettes of some woodland creatures, which I thought was really classy. And then I went back to snowmen because I just love them and they're so cute. And then finally we have little polar bears being extremely adorable. Hope to see your guys' monthly layout for the Canva bullet journal. Be sure to follow me over on Instagram and tag me in any pictures of layouts you guys do. Thanks!